Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to today's stream. It is so wonderful to have you here today. I'm just trying to turn off my studio mode. There we go. Now I can see you all properly. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Hello, G3X. Hello, Joe. Hello, Noah Hone. Hello, Son of the Music. Hello, Shadow Dragon. Let's see here. Dragon Lemur. Hakalan. Michaelissa. Squizzix. Mushroom doing the Foxtrot. Mushroom doing the foxtrot's pretty good. Vindro, Polikia, hi. Hello to all of you. Hello. All right, Courtney, Ashley, you get to be the last one I say hello to for now. Hello. 100 hours into running Unbeatable rules. Jesus. True Turtle, I need you to write a write-up, dog. That'll go crazy. Finally caught up now so you can finally watch without spoilers. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. That's pretty sick. Hello, everyone. Hello. I am joining you today with a light little stream. I kind of threw out some conversation to the community over on our Discord, which, reminder, if you watch the YouTube, we do have a Patreon with which the lowest tier gets you access to the Discord, which is pretty cool because then you get to have conversations like deciding what I stream about. And today we're going to be touching on the social following rules that are in our rules, also available on our Patreon. I don't know. I'm in a 6-7 mood today, guys. I don't know what it is. Working on a Sinnoh thing using Insurgents Pokemon. Jesus, that sounds heavy. That's pretty good. Let's see here. Spoil some shit in this. Joe, I'm going to spoil some shit right now. All right, listen. You're never going to guess it. There's going to be Pokemon in upcoming episodes. Fucking got him. Let's see here. Yeah, no. So basically today I'm going to do some social following rules. But I do have some mild announcements before we get to that. Here, I gotta get out of the goofy mode for a second because I gotta have like real announcement energy. I gotta pretend like I actually own a company and have like a responsibility and an audience and like speak with some amount of seriousness. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna pause my music for this one. So I am gonna tell you guys a little story. Basically, essentially, probably a month ago now, I started commissioning a pretty big merch drop for us. Something where we're putting a little bit more money than we put in before, because we wanted to do sort of a bigger merch drop and give you guys like the option of like really getting to look at a bunch of different stuff. And we were really wanting this merch drop to be really important to us, right? Is a big merch drop for us. And then a couple of weeks ago, longer than a few weeks ago, but really a few weeks ago is when it started getting really public, of things being particularly bad here in my home country of the United States of America. If you are not familiar with situations going on in such places as my hometown, Los Angeles, or in Minneapolis or Chicago, or a few months ago, DC, or any number of certain things, you'll know that things are getting pretty scary and pretty bad over here. And I know that you guys don't necessarily come to these streams to hear me talk about that kind of stuff. That's not what you're here for. But I also think that not speaking up is a form of cowardice. You may not know this. Last year, I was detained and shot at by members of the LA County Sheriff's Department and the Police Department for protesting the ICE occupation of Los Angeles. So I have skin in the game on this one. And basically, because of that, we decided to pause the merch drop that we really are excited about and have put a lot of work in. And I spoke to our artist. Her name's Kat. I'll toss her socials somewhere because she's the fucking best when it comes to doing our merch. We paused the really big merch drop that's on its way because instead I spoke to Kat, and Kat and I worked together on a project to make something a little bit more outwardly spoken. And I know that some of you are not here for this content and will have some words for me when we get to it, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up the shirt that actually just dropped about 20 minutes ago. Let's see here. This is our Take a Stand shirt. This shirt is a shirt that we worked on very hard. I think it lays out our opinions on the matter pretty well. I'll go ahead and pull up the art a little bit better so you can see what's going on. Um, Basically, I feel like this sort of really represents our feelings on the matter, and how we feel about things. And I think it speaks for itself. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the actual shirt. What I will tell you is for the next however many months that I feel that this country is in danger, or years, all proceeds from this shirt, all profits, will be going to Stand With Minnesota, a series of fundings to help people who are currently under the siege of tyranny here in the United States. They're a real good cause. And basically, it's a standard little shirt, but all the proceeds are not going. All the profits aren't going to us. Our donation was making the shirt itself, and donating a little bit extra on the side where we could afford it. Yeah. So yeah, it's that's sort of, I wanted to get that out of the way before we started talking about it. The shirt is currently available in the Unbeatable store. The link is in the bio. If you're not there, I'll drop a link in the chat. If you're interested in getting the shirt, hell yeah. I'm probably going to be putting out a social post on Instagram and on the Discord later today. But yeah, it comes in blue and black. Though the blue, unfortunately, they're out of extra small and 5Xs. But yeah, I personally will be getting a black one, because it goes crazy. But I know. See, the thing is, I came onto this stream a little trepidatious because, like, here, I'm actually gonna hold it back to my face for a second. No, you know what? No, the shirt gets to stay. The shirt gets to stay in the corner right now because I came into the stream a little trepidatious because I have very important things going on in my life, right? In terms of, like, I've staked a lot of money into an upcoming project. It's really hard to be very vocal when, like, any amount of controversy can really shift your business and shift your time and shift your life. But it occurs to me that my fans, the people who watch this sort of content that we make, like, are already kind of anti-bad people, anti-fascist, anti-control, right? Like, so I trust that you guys will, at the very least, be on the right side of things, even if you don't go buy a t-shirt, because not everybody can afford it and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go back to my face cam for a second so I can set up the stream notes for the day, and I'm going to restart my music so we can get into the actual purpose of today's stream. But yeah. Oh, look, Kemba's in the chat. Hi, Kenna. How you doing? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Blade. Yup. If you don't like the Red Rockets, you don't like ice. Hey, listen. Shout out to that. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that you guys, at the very least, will understand what we're going for here. Let's see here. All right, now back to my screen. So today we were going to talk about the social following rules for the game. Basically what happened is, generally speaking, the people who are in the Discord, I will either toss out a poll or a conversational thread or something on what I stream these office hours about. And I know I've missed a few weeks. My calendar's a little empty because I've been really, really busy, and I'm going to continue to be busy for the next few months working on a thing that we colloquially have started calling Project Milkman. That's the original TTRPG. We're just using a code name for it so that, like, I don't accidentally slip and say some stuff that I'm not supposed to. G3X, I've heard that the shipping isn't great. We're trying to figure that one out. That's one of those ones where I've had a conversation with a couple of our Aussie members of our community, and I know the shipping isn't great. We're just trying to figure that out right now as well. Yeah. So Project Milkman is what I've really been spending almost every day on. We got some really, really, really exciting assets for it recently, and I've been working very hard on it. But because of that, my attempts to work on the UB final draft for version 1 have been very much delayed. So office hours is kind of the only time I can really get work done for it. So basically, the social following rules were an optional rule set that I kind of threw together for people like Burrty, who, if you've not watched the first, like, 50 episodes of Kanto Journey, wanted to, like, play a version of the game where they were, like, building a social media following. And the rules are a little extensive in terms of, like, it's like, what, like 4 pages? It's 3 pages. So 1, 2, 3. So really 3 pages, because this page is only like a little bit. And basically, I a few weeks ago, let me pull this up on Discord. Oh my god, we have a Discord. A few weeks ago on Discord, for our champion tier patrons, I opened up a discussion thread where I started asking about like the social media rules and what they thought of them, and like sort of like where we should fix these, right? Basically earlier in the thread, in the version 6 community thread that we run, people talked about maybe you should simplify the rules, maybe making an influencer archetype, create a focused activity. So this is an adjustment on the current downtime rules that are existing, where like there'd be a training day, a travel day, a care day, an influencer day. That might be something. More rewards for low-level followers. Making a mechanic to benefit all players passively rather than single social media focused characters. So there's a couple of different ways to go with it, and there was some really good discussions going on. I have not made a ton of decisions regarding what we should do with these mechanics. I do have a Discord, True Turtle. Yeah, so it's with these mechanics. Currently, kind of the way that they work is you have a player, they have a special stat called their following, and basically, whenever they do something in the public eye, pretty much anything, that action is either positive, negative, or controversial. Positive actions, add to their following. Negative actions, subtract. Controversial actions, don't do either, and instead the next thing they do then has even more like of an audience. They don't feel intuitive, so that's I've heard that from a couple of people, and that's one of the reasons why we're even looking at it in the first place. If they were mildly intuitive, I would leave them because I've got 80,000 other mechanics to work on right now. That ask about these rules every game. Well, Justice, that's why we're here. We're trying to figure it out. They're probably still not going to get it for at least a couple months, as I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not planning on pushing new updates until version 7 is done, and / version 1, because they're basically the same thing. Because that's going to be the last update, so I'm saving it all for one go, because that way you guys don't have to keep iterating. Ooh, there you go, True Turtle. So basically, controversial, negative, positive. The way that you determine the modifier for the amount that they earn, is how many people are seeing it. So if it's like a small group of like localized people, like a couple of people in a crowd, it's a times 10. If it's like a medium or smaller town, it's a times 100. If it's a big city, times 1,000. A region, so like say you're on the national news, it's fucking 10,000. You are on international news, it's 100,000. And if the world is watching, it's 1 million. So that's sort of the vibe that it originally went for. So basically, then they add their charm die, they don't add their level, and they don't explode, but they multiply it by the audience modifier. That's added or subtracted from the following. I think this part is actually pretty intuitive. I think this part is the part that's pretty easy. It's essentially, you do a die roll to determine how good you do. That's it. And you multiply it by a big number sometimes. It's basically like EXP. It's pretty easy. I think that part is pretty easy to track, but we can fiddle about with this part. I think where people struggle is the social rewards and consequences, where I tried to create different tiers of like, once you have a certain amount of followers, you gain different benefits. And then if you lose a certain percentage of your followers, you suffer specific consequences. This is honestly where I also struggle the most, because this is such a roleplay centric sort of mechanic, in terms of like, it's so specific to people's campaigns, that instituting rules for this seems hard. So I might even do something as far as going and stripping a lot of these rules and just leaving these as examples. Let's see here. Justice, sorry. Yeah, for using the beta rules you posted with these forever now. Let's see here. If Aaron had to stop and fix everything, the milk ain't ever getting delivered. Yeah, you're right, Mushroom. What's the streams when you're at work? I'm sorry, Gaming Inc. I'm sorry. Let's see. I just linked you the streams and tables to see if they show up. Let's see here. You linked me the streams and tables. The tables. They linked me to the stream to the tables. Let's see here. I don't know what you're talking about. For how much a live stream gym battle or tournament win loss might help, because it's been hard for you to determine how much it should be. Live stream. Oh, well, so that's the thing. So Metal Spider. Generally speaking, to be honest, what you could really do, and this is really simple, is you go to Twitch. Actually, I don't want to pull up Twitch. I don't know what random Twitch shit is going to come up. You go to Twitch and you go to like the live sports categories, the reactor categories, and it's, I mean, a gym, like you got to think about, like, even if a gym battle is live streamed, it's not going to have much more of an audience than really the size of the town that it's in, because you also have to take into account everybody who's in the town who's not watching the battle, right? And that sort of makes up for the gap. So if it's a gym battle, and this honestly, this might be a good thing to mention somewhere in here. So we'll mention this. Mention gym battle audience sizes, both live streamed and not. So that's sort of the vibe, is like, if it's not live streamed, a gym battle for the most part is a ×10 modifier. If it's live streamed, I generally kick it up 1 or 2 sizes depending on the size of the gym. So like, and or maybe even based off the size of the badge. Look at gating gym /ribbons. So upgrading public challenges. So badge /ribbon, because we also want these to be able to work with the contest rules. Ribbon based on player level. Let's see here. Zelko, that's fine. Zelkov, you're chilling. We're vibing. You missed the merch drop though, I will say. So you're gonna need to go back to the beginning of the stream to see the merch drop that we did, or you just click the link that's in the chat right now. We're currently working on the social rules. So people were talking about how like they don't know which of these population sizes is accurate for like a given gym. Hey Seth. So I was just talking about, like, in the upgraded rules, it's probably mentioned that, like, hey, a gym is probably, if it's not being live streamed, is probably a pretty small modifier. If it is being live streamed, you probably kick it up 1 or 2. I really like that, because something going on the first badge much different than getting their 10th badge. Yeah, I agree. I have some modifier depending on gym leader popularity. So this is how do you say your name? Hakanil-san. You know what? Go ahead and tell me in chat how to say your name, because I do want to say it right. H. That is going to be advanced / complicated, especially because, again, this assumes so much about the setting, right? And it assumes so much about how the GM has set up their world, which is one of the reasons why it's in the optional rules in the first place. But yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Would there be bonuses more towards the end of the league season? Maybe, probably, if you wanted to run that in your game. But again, these are very specific questions that assume a lot about someone's game. Each separate modifier, because someone says from pageants and sports, they'd probably be drawn to both. Let's see here. Player wants to live stream their battle or vlogging their time in the wilderness. Well, yeah. That's a good point, pal. What if someone wants to live stream their battle? So I would hear me out. If someone is doing their own live stream, not a gym, own live stream, and again, this is not thought out. This is just sort of the thought. The audience multiplier would be their following divided by 10. As a, I skipped the L there. As a social media person, if a influencer gets 1/10 of their following to watch a live stream that they're doing, that is insane. Actually, you know what? It's honestly closer to 1/100th in terms of getting them to do it. So, talking about that, pal, it's like if they're vlogging on their own time and they get people to watch that are 100th of their following, because think about it right now. We're doing a live stream on our channel and we have just under 100 viewers at any given time. Our YouTube subscribers is just under 20,000. So let's see, 20,000. That's 200,000. That's too many. 20,000 divided by 100. Well, that's the wrong direction. I went the wrong direction on that one. Guys, you're learning that I haven't done math since I quit being a computer science major. That's 0.005% of the following watching a given live stream. This is your first last name. Hokan. Okay, cool. Okay, hi Hokan. Nice to have you here. Yeah, so that's sort of the conversation that we're having. Off topic, but when you get a chance, look at the hashtag homebrew. Oh, no, I did see that, Zelkov. I have not read it yet, but I did see that you posted that. Yes, I am excited to do that. That was actually the other thing I was debating doing today's rule stream for, was the fishing rules, so that was the other thing. Just multiply the modifier by the badge/ribbon count. Justice, I don't know what you're suggesting here in terms of why we would do that. So go ahead and remember to add context to your comments, because we're on a delay here, and I don't necessarily know which of my many statements you're responding to. Let's see here. There's an aspect of the fantasy, though, like pretending it's easy to be famous for streaming. That's true, Caspi. That's true. But the people who want to roleplay it, generally, and this is already, that's one of the reasons why the 100, the divided by 100, the 1% is already fantasy. But sure, for simplicity, we'll say you can have 10% of your following as their own live stream. So one of the things that I'm noticing, though, and this is where you guys are starting to get wrapped into it, every single person who has asked for these rules to change in some way has asked for them to become more simple. You'll notice we're not making it more simple. We're adding rules upon rules upon rules as to how to change the audience modifier to match whatever the most niche possible condition is, which I think overall is the wrong direction to go. I actually, for the audience multiplier, I've been thinking about abstracting it and not making it based off of individual population. Because, think about it. We've already, in the span of less than 5 minutes, added 3 more rules. Jotaro, I will give you complexity any day. But the problem is I'm not making this game just for you. I'm making this game for everyone who doesn't want to play a game like Pokemon Tabletop United, where it's so crunchy, right? We're looking at streamlining and simplifying is our big words when it comes to Unbeatable. Streamlining and simplifying. So I'll give you mechanics all day. You and I can talk about building a D100 table with 1,000 fucking options on it and just playing around. But ultimately, the goal is for all of the GMs to easily be able to track something. So let's talk about what we can work with. We can work with someone's level. So player's level. That should definitely factor in. Existing following should factor in. Charm should factor in. Is there anything else? Oh, here we go. Size of audience should factor in. Let's see here. Audience multiplier should be based on importance over sizes. So gym battles earn even more. I mean, pal, again, we're just adding... Okay, so let's say flair. We're just adding complexity. Every time you say that you think, oh, it should be based on this, it should be based on this, it should be based on this. It's just adding complexity. So that this was supposed to be flair. You're right. I use the charm die, which is what most people are going to use for flair, but technically speaking, it should be flair. Badge level as a multiplier for gym badges. Well, so remember, players' level are no longer tied specifically to badges in this upcoming update. Players' levels include badges, major villains, and contests, because we're moving to more milestone leveling for this new update, as opposed to keeping everything fully badged based. So you will almost definitely be maxing out your level before you have all 8 of your badges. Let's see here. Rather than focusing on for size. So you said an audience increase bonuses their badge based on their badge count, as well as a standard modifier. Take the audience modifier and multiply it by the badge count, and then the roll is made. Or, hear me out, Justice, let's let's talk about this even further. What you're suggesting is we take our level and we multiply it by the modifier, and then we multiply that by the die roll, when currently they don't already add their level to the die roll. So die roll could just become, once again, equal to level plus roll, or plus die, and then multiply that times the modifier to get the total, right? Like, this is what we're talking about here. You know, let's see here. There's a lot of multiplication. That's what I'm saying, dog. You mean changing audience sizes to something else? Maybe, pal. Maybe, pal. So when we talk about audience size, right now it's based off of total number of people, but the mechanic is still going to be how many people are going to watch the thing that's happening. How many eyes are going to be on you is the real idea of following. So even if we've already kind of stepped away from keeping with the every individual following point is a follower, we haven't decided what we're replacing it with yet. But yeah, we want to bring the multiplication down. So let's already just look at the 4 factors that we've got here, right? We've got player level, badges, major villains, contest. Sorry, my brain was buffering. We've got the existing following. We've got charm and flair, and we've got size of audience. Because the other thing, I think this is sneakily important, and it's not currently listed in the... Oh, that's the wrong button. I think this is sneakily important, and it's not listed in the current rules, is once you have a following, it becomes so much easier to grow your following. So for the new proposed rules, we're talking about keeping a following score of some kind. I was personally thinking about maybe, and this is maybe, changing this to a die of some kind. At one point, Nikki had talked about, Nikki Mouse is one of our patrons and a really good home brewer in there, had talked about doing something based off of like die sizes with importance. And I think that's really interesting, but I think I want to take it in a different direction, because one of the problems with die sizes is it means that you are incredibly variable in what you get, and I don't think earning a following is quite that variable. As a cooking show for their Pokemon and Wild. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty true. That's pretty true. Like upkeep. Green Knight, I'm going to need you to see. Other factors can be how many times a trainer has attempted a particular challenge. Maybe that could be interesting. So I'm going to put this on the additional factors section, because this is things that aren't necessarily built in, but we should talk about it, is importance of event. Let's see here. Which is what Pal had suggested. Let's see here. You had talked about attempts. So I think attempts kind of builds into importance of event, though. You know what I mean? Like the amount of attempts somebody's done is sort of like built into that. Should be separate for level and charm roll, because level for notoriety. Oh. Caspy, I'm trying to parse you. Give me a second. Let's see here. I feel that like the die roll should be separate for level and charm roll, because it's parentheses level for notoriety versus parentheses level for experience being charismatic. Makes sense. Hey, what's up, Assault? We're talking about the social media rules. I would explain everything, but it would take the amount of time it's taken to have the stream thus far. If there is no check to make sure that a player goes like a week without uploading to make sure you current win. Son of music, that's interesting. That's interesting. So again, once again, we're adding layers of complexity here. I feel like this is important. And I'll add this. Regular posting schedule. That's one of the things, right? Is we're continuing to add layer upon layer upon layer of complexity, where we're basically building a different TTRPG now. Is one of the things, and this is supposed to be a tiny separate mechanic for an existing RPG. Let's see here. You could add your current following divided by 1,000. Add your charm roll and gain followers. Rather than do size, it could be better. It'll change the stages. Stages is interesting. Stages is interesting, Angelo. Stages is interesting. There's a character limit, so it's hard to word. Hey, valid, Gatsby. So for the next update, you mentioned badges aren't tied to level and be milestone based, right? So we won't be level 0 in the case of... no, you still will be, Justice Remix. You still will be. At the current moment, I haven't decided to up the level to 1 yet. No. You'll still be. Let's see here. There's no reason to not move it up to 1 other than having to readjust all the math on everything that's been based off of that equation thus far forever. But 6-7, you know? 6-7. With all the different added complexities showing up, would you want to make a small table stating that they're optional, that you can add if you wish? Courtney, that's not a terrible idea. I think that there's something to be said about putting example for example for example. So I think a table is not a bad idea. I do think 6-7. I do think hey, what's up, Fang VT? That the more that I put a table, though, the more people are going to reject the hardline rules that I'm giving, because as is already shown by every GM and player who is in this chat arguing about what should be important to this role, everyone has a very different idea of how this should be put into their games. Let's see here. Hey, listen, Angelo, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Marty probably gonna have a lot of shit to fix, so don't make you fix everything. Jotaro, I'm making you fix everything. 6, 8 minus 1 is crazy, Jay. I like the stages idea. Could table of milestone ask progression after someone you move up a stage. Mushrooms doing the foxtrot. I keep forgetting that you're Pines every time, and it explains why I like your username so much. I was like, that person, pretty cool. Let's see, like the stages idea. I think stages is not bad. Let's see here. Our game and Galar and gym battles at Giant Stadium. So I'm going to be doing social following, but not necessarily pokegram. Interesting. Yeah, valid. And I think there is a lot to be said for this. I think that ultimately, that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to move away from followers in general when I talk about the following that somebody has, because I'm less posting in a metric. So we want to, avoids. We want to avoid pushing too far into granular follower tracking. Let's see here. So, and people are like, Aaron, why does it take you 4 months to put out an update? We're just starting on the social media rules, and look at already how fucked this is. Give me a second. I'm gonna take a drink of my water. I'm gonna take a drink of my water. Drink of my water. Okay, sick. So, we know that we want Flare to function in somehow. So one of the things that we should also keep in mind is Flare is going to be capped at D12 plus 10. Because we know that in the next update, we are going down to... Oh, this is an important announcement for people who haven't been paying attention to the rules discussion question in the Discord. We're going down to 5 stats next update. We're getting rid of strength. We're folding it into a different stat. We're technically also getting rid of agility, but we're folding them together into a single stat. As part of that, we're getting rid of D20s for players. D20s are only going to be the purview of Pokemon. So when I say Charm plus Flare is going to be capped at D12 plus 10, it's because the highest die that somebody will be able to have in their Charm is like a D12 or whatever other stat they're using for Flare. And then already Flare is capped at 10 skill points. Yeah, so currently it's capped at the maximum you can roll, not adding your level, is 22. Yeah, the maximum you can roll, not adding your level, is 22, right? Jay says, what do I mean by granular following? What I mean by granular following is how it currently exists, where currently the following score tracks the exact number of followers you have on social media. Currently, it tracks, you have 10,864,321 followers. Is sort of the vibe. Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Basalt. That was a long discussion in which I had to argue with many people as to which one is better and flip-flopped multiple times. Actually, so Dragon Lemur, Coryne is the thing that pushed me over the edge on deciding to get rid of strength, because I spoke to Kenna, and Kenna was like, this is incredibly unsatisfying to not get to use my main stat. And all of the other players are like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care that I have the world's weakest stat. And all 3 of them have dumped stat to D4, which proves that A, you don't lose anything by not having it, and B, you don't gain anything by really having it. So Coryne's actually going to become more I just bumped my knee. Going to be more viable from me bumping strength and adding it into the new physical stat, because the new physical stat, I believe currently we're working with the word prowess, but it's still come and go on it. It also applies to all the stuff that agility used to apply to. So Coryne will now be able to do all the strength stuff and all the agility stuff, which goes crazy. What point do you get enough notoriety to fund your own movie? Again, that's your own thing, dog. People want me to remove rewards from this fucking thing and then want me to leave it to RP. So fucking, I don't know. Okay, so we know that it's capped at 22, right? We know it's capped at 22. If you eventually add level to that, that's another 10. So that's equal to 32 is the max roll, because we've already said you can't explode on these rolls, right? Is a maximum number a player could roll. Assuming a player rolls a 1, has no flare, and is rank 1, the maximum they could roll is 1 plus 0 plus 1, which is 2. So that's sort of our range that people fall under, is a 30-point range on rolls that they can make with their charm/flare roll if they're not able to explode. Oh, Pal's making an iron lung joke. I've not seen it yet. I've heard it's very, very good. I've heard it's very, very good. So let's see here. We've got a 30-point range for just the charm/flare. What if... Yeah, Zelkov, it's something we were discussing a couple weeks ago, but hasn't made a public announcement yet because it's coming out in version 7, so it's sort of everything. There was a lot of discussion that happened regarding it in the version 6 rules chat. If you guys literally just go search the word strength, you'll find the discussions. Soft notoriety rather than granular tracking makes sense. So let somebody's number of followers be fun roleplay moment. Absolutely. Yeah, see, Basalt, you're getting it. Could add how many Pokemon they have left non-fainted. Justice Blade, we're adding complexity. We're getting granular. Granular alert. Granular alert. It's the thing. It's shut up, mine Hagsy. Fucking 6-7. It's the thing of we could do that, Justice, but it's the thing of like we haven't even decided how we're calculating yet, and now we're adding modifiers to it. Bonuses to charm rolls means you can then charm your way into sponsorships and rewards, which is just realistic. So, Angelo, we're now straddling that line of how realistic do we want it to be, right? We're already taking away granular following because you guys didn't want us to go too realistic in terms of how unlikely it is to really get so many of your viewers to watch something, right? So now if we're going back into it, yeah, Aaron teasing us with all the new updates. It's not teasing. It's me going, hey, I haven't had time to finish this fucking thing, and there's a lot of things going on in the background. So I think that, I mean, sponsorships are definitely something that we should mention at some point in the rules, because I think sponsorships are going to be like a one paragraph sort of lack of a ton of rules things, because ultimately, while there are going to be a lot of GMs who are like, hey, I don't know how to implement this. How do I exactly do this for my exact game, for my exact players, and them not abuse it, and also it's balanced, and also it works. That's going to be one of those things where the DM just kind of has to learn by doing, because ultimately I think it's more valuable to mention that sponsorships are a thing, and that you can do them, and give maybe some minor, brief, broad stroke sort of examples. But I think every time we've tried to put rewards into a hard box, take Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, even the few rules I put in for gyms here, people really end up rejecting those rules because they just don't fit for not even all campaigns, but even most campaigns. We're currently working off prowess, Zelkov, but we're not sure yet. Let's see here. Let's see. It doesn't restrict what you get, and it doesn't punish other social following, so you can't set rewards. You're late. What we're doing? We're working on social rules right now, Snow Puppy. I was just saying, realistically, people. Yeah, it is sad, but that's the entire shtick, right? That's why you get a social following, is to have social followers and use that influence to get things. If something wrong in TTRPG is the only way you become better. It's okay to fuck up. It is. But is tracking both positive and negative social standing? People might follow a person. Now, Beatrice, that's interesting. That's interesting. Being a heel. If you're not familiar with... ooh, don't worry about that. Let me turn on my Do Not Disturb on Discord so I don't get pop-up anymore. Because I got a little message from somebody that has to do with an upcoming project. Give me a second. I need to answer a question for Project Milkman. Continue to discuss among yourself. Wait, you're going? No, Hokan, no! Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Let's see here. I'm not... Okay, sorry, I was answering questions. This needs to be a sound button. Let's see here. The milk. Remember, someone made a heal archetype and messed up the balance into getting 1.4 million followers. That's funny. Let's go heal. It's like 10 p.m. in Sweden. We work night shifts. Okay, well, goodbye, Hokan. Goodbye. It was nice to have you. Yeah, so I think being a heel is a good. Betros is a good. Betros? How do I say your name? Is a good sort of idea of like, yeah, you can have a fucking dick ass social following. You can be a piece of shit. There are plenty of people in the modern world who are benefiting off of sucking as people. Once again, I'm gonna go refer you to Unbeatable Shop, unbeatable-shop.fourthwall.com if you want to take a stand against assholes. Let's see. Controversial would assist in being a heel. So, yeah, if we keep controversial, which I think we do. I think we do keep controversial. I think we do keep the positive, negative, controversial. I think that's a really good, like, spin on things. But I think instead of punishing people for having a negative follower, I think maybe... It's like a sliding, like, sort of positive negative scale where, like, we talked about doing stages, right? For give me a second. My brain is typing and thus I can't say words. That's such a fucking... So we talked about doing stages, right? What if we, instead of it, like... doing it, it's like if you get really high on this end, you're going to be doing pretty well for yourself, or you get really high on this end, you're doing pretty well for yourself. If you're in the middle, you really don't have a following. Let's see here. Rejection of concreteness also just reflects the variety in Pokemon plots. I think that's true, Basalt. I think that's true. Like, there's a great formula that faction rules work well, but complicates more dungeon crawly oriented TTRPG mechanics. I agree. So I think maybe... So we know that we're going to have charm, or so we know that this is capped, but we want this involved somehow. We want flair. I'm going to remove charm because it's fucking me up, because really it can be several different dice. So Armand Kingsley, for example, in the villain world has like a... Actually, no, back when he was an asshole sort of heel battler, he would have been pretty high up. Fame is fame. Yeah, so I think this is not a bad idea. Let's see here. And then we just need to come up with... Let's see here. There we go. Just trying to crush that message into the word count for a while. I was talking. Okay. No, that's fine result. That's pretty interesting. Let's see here. You can choose to go positive and negative press with other YouTubers who are instantly famous despite numerous controversies. That's true. Yeah. Thinking in my brain. Let's see here. Six friendship, fear, rage is a fun parallelism. Was Armand a heel? Armand was a bit of a heel, but it wasn't like the Rock heel where it was intentional. It was more like a Roman Reigns style heel where he tried to be somebody loved by the audience and they just didn't like him. Sort of vibe. Like it's just like he came out and he was like, yeah. See, Armand, yeah, you get it, Angelo. It's like he wasn't really a heel because a heel plays it up and they're like, you know, they get a rise out of people. They try for it. Armand was just kind of an asshole and people liked him for that. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. So hear me out. If I were to not look at these mechanics for a moment and step away from this, I haven't even begun to look at the rewards or consequences or anything for this. I'm just talking about the base mechanic as we're talking about right now. My idea would be that all players start at a 0 following. And instead of it being a big number, your following is a stage that you track over the course of a campaign. And it starts at 0, but you can build up and you can drop. So like if a player starts at 0 and then they just hit the negative, they might choose to just keep dropping because you get rewards for this side of the scale and you get rewards for this side of the scale. Sort of like a true value sort of thing where it's like this is still positive and this is still positive, and it's really like this is the bad part, is this of the scale to be in. And essentially, the flare die, one of the things that I was thinking about recently is treating it more like a... And this is where I'm trying to figure out how to fix in work stages helps because you can and can't do also setting some clear limits. That's true. So this is sort of like the core mechanic that I'm thinking of, right? Is like that scale. I'm trying to figure out where toxic pokefluencer becomes possible. It's true. I'm trying to figure out where this actually fits though in terms of how it's applied in game. So we know there's bonuses. We know... Okay, hear me out. Lacker of lacking, you've missed everything. You've missed so many. That's a joke. You didn't miss all that much. We've been talking about social rules the entire time. And also there's a new shirt, but don't worry about that right now. We're focused on this. Okay, so you keep it as like stages. I think positive, negative, controversial. I think maybe. Okay, hear me out. The difficulty of going up or down, whatever direction you're going, becomes harder the further from 0 you get. And basically every time you... I got it. Okay, I gotta write for a second so that you start at 0 following. When big events happen, the player chooses if they want to attempt positive or negative. If they okay. Then they roll their flare check with full skill points plus badges. Or plus level. I keep saying badges because I've been playing this game for 3.5 fucking years and change is hard. Okay. They roll their flare check, trying to beat an increasing DC as they get further from 0. Okay. If they succeed, they go up/down 1 stage. If they fail by a small amount, they get controversial, which instead of doubling their thing, it increases the change they move by next time. If they fail by a big amount, they go the opposite direction. And then we talked about sponsorships. Sponsors can send items and or money based on the following stage. Okay. How we feel about this? Let me go read. Okay, let's see here. Something going overkill with Mon and low health to bring back breath and epiphany. Okay, let's consider the idea of negative having too big audience. Like notice hands on the I think that can absolutely be mentioned in sort of. So I think where that would fall, absolute, is more of the like applications in role play sections, which I think is going to have no tables but just a list of things. So like bad following equal bad fans sort of thing. Fail so badly that people wholesomely beautify you. That's hilarious, Basalt. Is there a reason to attempt negative? For instance, does negative value cause fear at opposing factions? So I don't know that the social rules are going to be at all implemented with the faction rules, because the faction rules are already such they're another like super optional mechanic, and B, they're already such a complicated mechanic that doesn't work all that well. So trying to add another variable in is not going to be good. I do think that there will be positives that are different for having a negative thing. I think probably the positive ones, you're going to see more traditional influencers, people with more traditional sponsorships, more traditional sort of like fans. The negative, you might genuinely get some sort of bonus from being negative. What stage would one be if they're a lolcow? You're thinking -4. Hey, listen, it's possible, but I'm thinking something more RP-based than a rules thing. Let's see here. Angela, that's a possibility. Think of more RP-based than a rules thing. What were you referring to, Angela? I want to know what you were referring to. You could get your fans to harass people for you. Hey, listen, Basalt, I don't want to encourage that. As an influencer, I don't want to encourage that. I understand why the rules would be there, and I think in a purely realistic world, yeah, but I don't want to encourage that in the gameplay. Okay, so looking at this then, that means that, let's see, imagining contact by an evil faction from having bad influence. Crazy. I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Is I think really, this is not a positive negative scale. This is in like, so really when you look at it, right, this is a like fame versus like infamy. Right? Like that's really what this is. So it's like a do you want to be known for having sort of like a more infamous sort of vibe, or do you want to be known for being famous? And I think that's sort of the thing. Team Yell is not heels, to be fair, technically. They just have bad fans. Not actually a serious suggestion. Let's see here. That'd be good because it happens IRL. That's what I'm saying. I think a fame/infamy scale is much more interesting. Honestly, that's probably what the stat's going to be called rather than following. Or maybe maybe that's actually just like the standing. Do you want to be a prank YouTuber or not? All that. Yeah, that's sort of the vibe. So looking at this is sort of the idea for the mechanic. What are we thinking about just the core mechanic? We're not talking about rewards yet. We're not talking about like how this implements your social standing or anything. We're just talking about the idea for a mechanic. Is this intuitive and trackable? Do you think that you guys in a game could track this? Because basically, whenever you do an event, there's going to be a little table that tells you exactly what the difficulty for your role is going to be. You the anime attacks people with a stun fist. What the fuck, Angelo? That's crazy. A lot more simple. Easily trackable. You like this version as well. Oh, Spider. Hey, what's up? Nice to see you. I like seeing you. Makes sense. It might make some players think about their actions. Pines says, Pines, once again, thank you for the reminder that you are, in fact, Pines. I appreciate you. I absolutely could track this. It's going to be going to the spreadsheet simulator. Hey, Bro Incognito. That's Bro Incognito. I read it as Bro Incognito. If I keep track of, my players are unlikely to want to engage with it, but it makes it most easy to use or ignore. That's the thing, right? So people have really pointed out that, like, oh, well, like, you're punishing the players who don't use these mechanics. It's like, well, no, because there are risks to this mechanic. And there is work that goes into it, and dice you need to roll. It's just like any other side quest that a player might do. I like this version. What's the calculation for the DC based on stages? Angelo, I just came up with this mechanic, dog. I have not determined the DCs yet. Spider, you been here from the start? Why have you just not been talking? I've been missing you. That's all I'm saying. Hey, what's up, Not a Geek? How you doing? Okay. Yeah, because that's sort of the thing, is right. It's like this is just a side quest. This is a side quest for players who want it. Interesting. So I think the table for doing this, right, is it's gonna be like, if we talk about the table, it's gonna be like the y-axis is gonna be the quote unquote like true value of the of your current fame/infamy. So like if it's gonna be same difficulty if it's -10 or +10 sort of thing of fame/infamy. And then the x-axis of this table is probably going to have to do with something that I think earlier is, rather than exact size of audience, I think Pal had a good point earlier in doing it more as importance of event. Because really the importance of event does affect the size of the audience. So I think the x-axis is going to be size / importance. And this is going to be more where it's like a GM call, where it's going to be like, you know, the GM is going to be like, oh, this is probably like a big important event, or it's not. If you're too famous, everybody knows your team, your battle style, that's balance. It would be too complex if they do something that keeps them away from getting to the next level. Scam / cheating. I think one of the things when we talked about the application of roleplay section, which is down here, I think one of the things that GMs can reward or take away following based on in-game actions, and there will be guidelines for such. There you go. And I ultimately think that, hear me out, cheating doesn't look good for anybody, even the infamous people. So like, you cheat, people think, oh, that guy sucks ass, and you still get closer to 0. So it's going to be less about like constantly giving negatives and more like what pulls you back to 0 is the sort of vibe. So I think lack or lacking, that's a great point. So I think in terms of the application and roleplay section, that's where we're at. Let's see here. I'm going to leave the chat open for a second to continue to chat about thoughts on what you guys are thinking regarding the social rules. Let's see here. Cheating isn't fun, bad, lame, bad. Yeah, exactly. Not even the fun. Yeah, exactly. Famey in the y-axis. Hey, listen, we don't have to call it out. We don't have to call it out, Betros. We don't know how you do. Thank you. I appreciate you. I already see the shipping wars with influencers. Oh, God, please don't ship people in your games. Justice Remix. Cheating looks good to the wrong people. Yeah, but not enough people to where they'll cause your following. Like, think about fans who are real fans of sports. Nobody likes cheating. Like, of any real kind. If you're a real fan of a sport, you don't like cheating, just in general. Doesn't matter what the sport is. If it's fucking dance or football, doesn't matter. Yeah, this could be a core mechanic for contests. Honestly, I would love to, if this becomes the primary, like, I would love for this to be implemented into the contest rules. I mean, because technically, contest ribbons are already going to be involved because it's going to be based off player level. Okay. So earlier somebody asked, how are we going to calculate the DCs? And I started putting the axes. In terms of the values, remember when I did this math earlier where the maximum a player could roll is 32 and the lowest they could roll is 2? That's how you figure out the difficulties. You figure out your range and then you distribute based off of your 2 axes. Let's see. Me shipping others? I don't have to. My players will just do. That's true. 5 rounds you give away player location. This is Gary Hype Squad. Yeah. Feels like if something feels like something like cheating, autoplay, controversial status. Interesting, absolute garbage. Never forgive. There you go. See, you get it, Son of Music. Highest player, well, maybe the highest DC around 20. I was gonna 25 is about where I was thinking, Courtney. 25 is about sort of where my vibe is, but that's gonna be my own time kind of thing. That's not necessarily a stream thing because you guys don't want to sit here and watch me fill in a fucking math chart and do bad math equations that are wrong. Just in general. Okay, so then we talk about like applications for not just roleplay, but we talk about Mechanical. Oh, I did. Mechanical applications. So we talk about sponsorship rewards, which I think would probably be equal to the value of your fame / infamy times like 1,000, where like whatever frequency the GM feels the need to give it to you, they could give you something of like up to like 10,000 value, which basically means that like once you start hitting like the highest levels of fame, sponsors could start dropping like vitamins and stuff on you, which goes crazy. Fame, did I fucking, god damn it, pal, I'm gonna cry. Don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of me. 2 + 2 = fish. I'm great at math. That's true. We could talk about what could we talk about? What else could well, give me some ideas. How else could your fame / infamy affect things mechanically? Oh, okay. Bye, Jay. It was nice to have you here. Goodbye. We're probably not going to be keeping the stream going too much longer anyway, so you're not missing too much. Bye. Or be a local helping you out in the area. Oh, interesting. So I'd put that under applications and roleplay of getting help from locals. I would put that in the roleplay applications, which I want to be clear. Most of the benefits from this should be roleplay focus and not mechanical focuses. Yeah. High positive. They follow your lead. Discounts on items. Discounts could be interesting. Let's see here. Offering shady contracts and business deals. That's going to be roleplay. Contracts. Let's see here. I mean, these are all good ideas. You guys just keep spitting if you want to. This goes crazy. Let's see here. Trainer encounters. People trying to beat you. Ooh, okay. Increased challenges either direction. Selling merch. So just straight money value based off merch as a replacement for sponsorship rewards. Yeah. Local. No. This is good. So we do want RP focused ones as well, because most rewards should be RP focused. So I think local rumors goes crazy. I think that goes insane. I think this is already much more simplified than, let's see here, than people, than what it was previously, and I think this will be easier to track. Because I think it takes the core of what the original social following rules are going for and abstracts it significantly. Yeah, let's see here. Trade requests. Yeah, I could see that. I'll put that in there as well. Trade requests. And maybe you'll actually get some good offers. Gyms being harder, potentially? Interesting. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to come down here. Harder. Let's see here. Mention before roleplay. People more familiar with the team. I think instead of gyms, Basalt, I think you're right. I think it's just battles being harder. Let's see here. Special areas, that could be interesting. And these, you know, the best part is a lot of these things are things that benefit the entire team with the roleplay stuff. Because like all of these things are things where, except for like contracts, are things that'll help everybody else. If a little mascot Pokemon, people obsessed with it. VIP access. I'm gonna put that under special areas. Absolute garbage. Let's see here. Could battles being harder give extra TN? I think they could. Extra TN on win. I think that's pretty solid thing. Gym leader Katie does have a negative fucking 10. Yeah. Another unintentional heal. Collabs. Okay. Collabs is good. Yeah. Ooh, baby, that's a good idea, Snow Puppy. Ooh. Increasing following of Friends. So hear me out. If you guys are together for a requisite amount of time and you're seen in public, if you have someone whose value is closer to 0, so say you've got another trainer in the party who's trying to go like the fame route, so they've got like a 3, but you're sitting over here at like a -9. I like the idea of them just popping down 1 every period of time to get closer to your value. That could be fun. That could be really funny. Because, like, you're imagining it this direction where you're at, like, a 10 and one of your friends is at, like, a -1 and you pop up their relationship slowly into the positive. But I think it's so funny if there's one infamous member of the group that's just pulling everybody down. Oh, that's so funny. Because, like, you've all seen those, like, streamer houses where they've got one guy who definitely said something racist on stream 4 years ago, but they all refuse to leave him, and that makes you think less of everybody else there. Let's see here. So you got something crowd mechanics too. Yeah, that could be fun, pal. This is why I didn't write it down. I was just talking about fun, or like I didn't like fully go into it. I just wrote it down as like funny thing. I think ultimately it's just going to be a passive increase of like if there are multiple people with different starts of fame. Let's see here, but it's really funny. Rival fame, infamy / fame deal could be very fun as well. The idea of like the heel and the paragon like traveling together, and everyone knows that they travel together, and they're just excited to see what training they've done because their big battles only happen in public. Okay, sick. All right, I think we're all pretty happy with this as sort of like the main idea. So this is the draft for the social rules. I'm gonna leave the VOD up definitely. I mean, I always do, and I want to hear some responses in the comments or in the Discord. So if you're in the Discord watching this later, at me in the, or not even at me, just post in the what's it called, in the social media rules discussion thread that's there. If you're just watching on YouTube and you don't want to go all the way over there, post it in the YouTube comments. I'd happily hear some feedback there. Yeah, crowd mechanics, another optional mechanic, but yeah, I'll write it down. That could be interesting. Yeah, I think we're all pretty happy with this though, in terms of what direction it's gone. So that's sort of the vibe that we're going for. So let me put my face back on real quick. Oh, actually, other point out. Remember, if you were not here at the top of the stream, we did put out a shirt today. It is currently, I'll link it in the chat. It is currently up, and it will be up for probably the rest of time, but at least for the next few months. Any profits from our Take a Stand shirt will go to Stand with Minnesota, to benefit people who have been suffering at the hands of the United States government. That's what it is. If you want to hear my full reasoning and conversation about it, go back to the top of the VOD. That's where we talked about it. But I think, as I go back to my face, hello, hi, my face is so pretty. Let's see here. If you knock out a Pokemon, how many chances do you have to catch it? Technically speaking, and this has been one of the issues with the game thus far, you technically have like infinite chances to catch it in terms of rules as written. We recently did a thing where if you try and catch where a player in the game tried to catch a Pokemon and they failed, and I said, okay, that Pokemon runs away. So ultimately, I've been playing it more as you got one shot, but technically speaking, rules as written, you have infinite shots. Yeah, so that's the thought. Let's see here. Why is the charming gentleman on screen? My eyes is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's kind of it though. Let's see here. I got a couple more minutes if anybody's got any other questions before I pop out for the day, because I have a meeting here in a couple hours that I need to start getting ready for. Let's see here. In mind, I have them doing charm rolls after each fail. That's not a bad idea, Caspi. Yeah, we had that where I failed by 1 and didn't know. Oh, damn, Angelo. That's so sad. That's so sad. All right, everybody. How am I doing? I am fucking busy. I can't show you guys, but I recently bought a giant. Here, let me see. Actually, I'll pull it up. Let's see here. I recently bought something that looks. No, I don't want to hit the shopping tab. I want to hit the images tab. I recently bought something that looks very similar to this, and I put it on my wall. and it is so fucking full. And I am very, very busy, and I work very, very hard to get you guys Project Milkman, ideally at some point in the next... Ideally in the next 6 months would be nice to be able to get that campaign out there. That would be really nice, within 6 months, to be able to, like, announce the Kickstarter. But, I don't know, everything's still very variable, because we're still working very hard. I'm not ready to announce hard dates yet. Yeah, let's see here. If they KO Pokemon, I don't mind them catching it all at that point. It was up to the gym thing. It's always been, my guy always has a meeting. You getting any rest? I'm getting tons of rest. This week has been more recovery than the last couple. I spent a lot of time on my phone this week. I got back into reading fan fiction. Oh my God, I've been reading fluffy romance fan fiction for sure, dog. For sure, dog. I'm playing some Arc Raiders. This week has been more rest than most, but I'm still trying to get stuff done. Actually, that's literally why I paused stream earlier, so that I could respond to one of our artists for Project Milkman, who is asking questions about pastures. Let's see here. Giant Snorlax Relax would go crazy. Bring home the milk. Soft, squishy dates. And on that note, it has been lovely to see all of you. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. They can still hear me. My voice is still here. Oh no, and there it goes.